19-year-old Dwight or 19-year-old Victor?
I'm taking Dwight. I don't understand why Dwight and how he's not a top 75 player all time.
People do not realize what Dwight is. He is one of the most physically gifted humans that have ever walked the face of the planet.
Yeah, and the dude ate Popeyes all day, and the dude at one point wasn't eating fruit. He wouldn't eat salad, no vegetable, nothing. He was arguably number 1 or number 2 in terms of face of the league. He never missed practice. We would tell him to take practice off. He would never miss a practice. Like, to me, it was like, this dude is special. Not just like you said, not the basketball part, because of everything.
When we was on the Olympic team, I didn't really get to see him in dominant mode. He didn't turn into who he was yet. When I got to Orlando, I've never seen people afraid. Cause when we played, like, yo, pick and roll, I'm in there. Yeah. I never seen niggas like, yo, we not going into there until the nigga gets subbed out. I'm watching this shit real time where niggas like back door. Niggas like, nah, I'm not back door. I never seen niggas scared to come in a lane. That's crazy. When he get his offense good, this nigga's the best nigga in the league. Like, I remember the playoff game.
Which one, against Atlanta?
Atlanta. Google it. No, Google it.
You had 40.
Look, that's what I'm saying.
Oh, you had 46
and 19. You forgot. Look at that shit. This is what I'm looking. 46 and 19, dog.
Damn. And you shot damn near 70% with 46 points.
Think about this in the playoff game.
Just a few days ago, Dwight Howard was named a first ballot Hall of Famer, class of 2025, joining Carmelo Anthony. And many people, when they look at Dwight Howard, more so they see the allegations, they call him gay, they say all kind of things about Dwight Howard and who they claim to think he is. But the man, there's one thing that people can't forget. Despite him having a rougher reputation towards the end of his basketball career, in his prime, from 2007 all the way up to 2013, Dwight Howard was no doubt the best big man in basketball. You look at Dwight Howard's career, the guy, his resume speaks for itself. He's a 3-time Defensive Player of the Year. He won that award and a three-peat. No other big man has done that in NBA history. No other defensive player has done that in NBA history. He is a 4-time first-team All-Defensive Player, 5-time first-team All-NBA player, 2-time third-team, a 1-time second-team All-NBA in 2014, and he's a first-team All-Rookie, slam dunk champion, gold medalist. In his prime, there was no question that this guy was the best center in basketball and really had one of the best runs in his prime in NBA history for a big man. Because back when Dwight Howard was playing, big men still played a dominant role in the post. They weren't necessarily the best players on their team anymore because you had the rise of guards and forwards really becoming their franchise players. But Dwight Howard was really that next great big man in the NBA that were in those conversations of the Wilt Chamberlains, the Kareems, the Hakeem Olajuwons, the Shaqs. He was really in that conversation during that time. Just imagine beating a prime LeBron James that was still extremely young in his NBA career, peak athleticism, taking a team that was even worse than Dwight Howard's team to a best seeded team in the Eastern Conference that year. And these two teams would meet in the NBA Conference Finals, and as we all know, the Orlando Magic won that series. Mainly had to do with the defensive presence that Dwight Howard had and his just overall dominance in the post during that time. Not to mention, he had great surrounding teammates around him. He had a great supporting cast. Just as I said earlier, Dwight Howard led that type of team to one of the best records, but not only that, but Dwight Howard had that team consistently every year as at least a top 5 best defensive team in basketball when their team really wasn't focused on defense. It was just simply due to how great he was. He really did have the potential to be the face of the NBA. He had that goofy, eccentric personality, that necessarily didn't always rub people the right way, but he still was able to accomplish so much in just that time, because by the age of 26, really that was the end of prime Dwight Howard, simply due to back injuries and things that really just derailed his career, off-court issues. As we all know, he had those issues with Stan Van Gundy, who was the coach at the time of the Orlando Magic, and which also led to one of the most embarrassing press conference moments of all time. That was really just the peak of the drama and the chaos that was going on with that Orlando Magic team. And really, the crazy part about that was just a few days later, that was when Dwight Howard suffered from one of the worst back injuries he had of his NBA career, which pretty much destroyed his athleticism and everything, and which also led to him, finally requesting a trade to the Los Angeles Lakers. We all know during his time for the Lakers, he didn't really have the best time there in his one season there. A lot of people forget during that time as well too that he was still playing through gruesome injuries, which was fair for him, but still people remember him from having beef with Kobe, having beef with Steve Nash, because he had really want to play in the offensive system that Steve Nash was playing. And then it only got worse when he got to Houston, because many people thought, man, this could be the next Kobe and Shaq, with a up-and-coming rising star in James Harden, and still somewhat in his prime Dwight Howard, who was still recognized as the best big man in basketball during that time. But that quickly changed, because Dwight Howard really wanted to be one of the focal points of the offense, but that really didn't happen, which immediately as well led to him eventually getting shipped away from the Houston Rockets. And then really after that, that was pretty much the end of his career as far as being known as the most dominant big man during that time in basketball. That's when he kind of was a journeyman during his NBA career, and he had a lot of reputation issues during this time, with many people not liking him as teammates. And it was very, very well known to the fact that when he was shipped off away from his home team of the Atlanta Hawks, they were celebrating and they were cheering. And I feel like this was during the point where Dwight Howard's career was definitely at more of an all-time low, because you see all this experience that he had, especially with the Houston Rockets, it was him still thinking that he was that guy, the man. I feel like a lot of it just came to accountability and just maturity that he had to grow and develop. During this time as well, no NBA teams really wanted to take a chance on a Dwight Howard type of player. He was still as sometimes an above average center on an NBA team, but once he got to the Lakers, it was really his last chance to really show what he can really do. At this point, he was in his mid-30s. He wasn't the same player he was, but he matured. He went from eating and having a horrible diet to really fully being locked in on taking care of himself. He started taking accountability, and he started accepting his role on what it could be on the team. And he did that flawlessly on his second time with the Los Angeles Lakers. Lakers having such a big dominant presence down in the post with Anthony Davis, with JaVale McGee, and having Dwight Howard come in and play some really valuable minutes for them. Dwight Howard was really one of the main reasons why that Lakers team that year won an NBA championship. Is because of the Lakers' dominant rim protection. An amazing lob threat, and he played his role to perfection, which was the ultimate comeback for a guy whose career during this time was tarnished due to injuries, due to a reputation that many people have seen him in a different light for, who may not know who he really was back then. But to go through all the things that Dwight Howard went through to finally winning an NBA championship is something that is an amazing story, amazing comeback story for him. Because now, adding to his already Hall of Fame worthy resume, he's adding an NBA championship to that. One thing that many people were critiquing him for in his prime was him not really having a ring, because many people already knew how talented he was. Many people knew how great he was, but it was only until then that he got that championship ring that people could really take him seriously. And the reality is, he wasn't some bench warmer on that Lakers team, not playing any valuable minutes for them. He was a key player on their run to an NBA championship. So many people will say as well, man, Dwight Howard, who don't know him, like, man, he's trash, or he has this and that. But many people just forget how great this guy was. If you hear Many NBA legends say how he was robbed as well on making it to the NBA top 75 team, because he undoubtedly should have been on that list. But regardless, Dwight Howard, he is a Hall of Famer now, and for him, I feel like that is the ultimate comeback from a guy whose reputation was tarnished and ruined to now being in basketball heaven, essentially. So props to him, and I just want people to just not forget how great this guy was in his prime, because a lot of these casuals these days, man, I'm sorry to say it, but I'm just being honest, they don't really know how great he was. So I just wanted to make that video and just discuss that. But I hope you guys really enjoyed this video today. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel for more basketball content each and every single day. Have a great day. Peace.